This team reminds me so much of the 1986 team. If you don't want to be here, we will get rid of you. But if you're going to be here, you're not going to be negative. We're not going to moan about Candlestick Park. We're not going to moan about the environment. We're going to be positive. In fact, we're going to use it as our biggest asset. It is the greatest home field advantage in sports. It's high time we started looking at it that way.
Somebody who's been on frequently, one of my very favorite guests, one of my very favorite people, someone I just enjoy talking to a ton. It's Giants broadcaster Mike Krukow. Kruk, how you doing today?
TK, I couldn't be better. This has been a really nice start for the Giants and all the broadcasters who get to tell the story of the Giants. So I can't wait to be on your podcast today because I have a scouting report for you.
Okay, great. Well, maybe we'll save that for later or whenever you can throw that one out there. It's always good to talk to you about everything. But I was going to say, you're always an optimistic guy, which is great, which I love. It's on the broadcast. But I can tell you like this team. Like it maybe even beyond the winning obviously is the most important thing. But I could just hear it in your voice. There are things that are happening that you and Kipe really like. I don't think I'm wrong there, Krug. And what are the things you really like that you've seen in these first 12 games?
Well, it's been our experience that, chemistry starts early, vibe starts early. And this team reminds me so much of the 1986 team. If you remember, in 1986, the Giants were coming off of a 100-loss season in 1985. The only time that the Giants organization in the history, in 142 years, had lost 100 games. And we were on that team. So we come back to camp the following year in 1986. The new regime, Roger Craig and Al Rosen, had taken over the previous September in 85. And they basically said, if you don't want to be here, we will get rid of you. But if you're going to be here, you're not going to be negative. We're not going to moan about Candlestick Park. We're not going to moan about the environment. We're going to be positive. In fact, we're going to use it as our biggest asset. It is the greatest home field advantage in sports. And it's high time we started looking at it that way. So we left to go to off-season, return spring training, and they didn't do a whole lot. They brought in a bunch of young players. So I'm thinking, this isn't that good. By the time I left camp, I was totally on board. And we broke camp and we opened up on the road against Houston and LA, two really, really tough teams in 1986, and we won both series. And when we got back to San Francisco, we were on our merry way. But the chemistry started the first day of spring. And what Kipe and I have done over the years, we go to camp as he did this year. I didn't. But we had a conversation with the trainers. The trainers know early on. What'd you guys see? What do you think? What do you think about this bunch? And this year it was thumbs up from every trainer there. These guys came in shape. They came in ready to work. All of our young guys really recognized at the end of last year they needed to beef up their strength to get ready for the season, and they did it. So all of this energy was starting to gather the very first spring day. And it carried on through spring, which was, they won more games than anybody, right? And everybody downplays the significance of spring. But when you've had a rough year like they did last year, when you've got a lot of young players, you cannot underestimate the importance of winning games in spring training. And they carried it right into the season. And they're doing little things. They're playing baseball. They're using their outs differently. They adjust with two strikes. They shorten their stroke. They go the opposite way. Their defense is much improved. The pitchers are throwing strikes, taking advantage of the defense. So all of this stuff has really, really got all of us excited. And it's got the guys on the team excited because they think they're a good club, and that's the most important thing.
You mentioned leadership. Obviously, Buster Posey comes in. Is it all Buster? Are we overplaying the Buster part of this? Or is that just the thing that kind of started what is happening here? Just bringing in a guy like him, having him communicate what he believes about baseball and what he believes about, how you build a culture and how you win.
Well, it starts with the philosophy of an organization. And he absolutely knew exactly where he wanted to go, what he felt would bring a positive vibe back into the organization. We had a conversation the other day, and I won't say the guy's name because I don't want to expose him, and I don't want to dog Farhan Zaidi's era because he did a lot of positive things for this organization. But one of the players was walking off the field going into the dugout after batting practice. I said, "You look like you're having fun." He goes, We're playing baseball again,
Hmm.
with a big smile, I might add. So I think what Buster initiated really was the start of it. But I also believe sincerely, as I saw in 1985 in September and then the spring of '86, the combination of Al Rosen and Roger Craig, they were very powerful and they were on the same page. They preached the same type of baseball. There was a very, very consistent attitude that came out of the front office and came out of the manager's office and all through the coaching staff. That was the message that we heard. It was simple, but it was consistent, and they backed it up. And that's exactly what's happened here. Buster, we asked Buster consistently through the spring training, hey, what's your opening lineup going to be for opening day? That's not my job. That's the job of Bob Melvin. He's in a better position to evaluate the talent. And he kept saying this steady and steady. It almost became kind of a running joke, but it's something that he believed in. He believed in Bob Melvin. He believed in his style. And I think the strength of their relationship really is similar to that of Rosen and Craig. And the results have been dramatic, all up and down the coaching staff. They're coaching with philosophies that they truly believe in. And it's been simplified as it's been proposed to the players. The players have bought into it. They're applying it, and the results have been dramatic. Giants are 9-3 in these first 4 series, and their style of play is dramatically different than what we saw the previous 6 years.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Farhan. Like these are mostly Farhan's players, and there could be a retooling throughout by Buster, but he only brought in a couple guys. But like they're just the energy definitely feels different. The sense of who they are feels different. And I'm just going to ask you. I mean, you are so great on pitching and examining these guys and breaking them down. The 2 guys that I'm really watching that jump out to me are Birdsong and Rodriguez. Maybe you have other 2 guys, but are those 2 guys jumping out to you too? Just, I mean, Birdsong, he's just lights out every time he's out there. What do you think about those 2 guys?
Well, I think that you're spot on. I mean, those 2 guys have been stellar all through spring training. They came to camp with a very quiet confidence that carried over onto the field because they have presence when they walk on the field. They know they belong there. They're not wondering if they can pitch at the big league level. And you have to include Lander Roop in that group as well. I mean, he had an incredible spring and, carried it right into his first 2 starts. I mean, he had an 8 strikeout performance in 4 innings in Houston, his first start. He was a little geeked. And there at the end, he got a little curveball happy, but then he took it into his next start. He threw all 4 of his pitches, 2 of which are new pitches, and he dominated. And I think that's the most exciting part about the Giants minor league system right now is they're making contribution. The arms are deep. And the 3 that we're talking about with Randy Rodriguez and Hayden Birdsong and Lander Roop, these are guys that you can count on. And, it's significant because you're getting contribution out of the minor leagues that is applying to the big league game. And that has not happened for a while. And it's beyond just those 3. We're stacked up. We got a lot of arms. We got a lot of players coming through, and they're not that far away from being able to say that they're big leaguers with confidence.
Justin Verlander, big free agent import, kind of up and down, but the stuff seems pretty good, Krug. I mean, what have you thought about Verlander so far?
Well, I thought Verlander had a really good spring. I thought that his first outing in Cincinnati, he did well. I thought his first start, he opened up the home opener in San Francisco, and I think he had really had a small strike zone to work with. And it's hard to maintain your composure, especially in an opening day assignment. I don't think he was as sharp in his second start as he was in his first, and certainly not as sharp as he was in his third start. His last outing over the weekend, he gave up 5 runs in 5 2/3 innings, but he struck out 9 guys. Yeah. He struck out 9 guys, and all 9 strikeouts had a swing and miss strike 3, and he had 23 swing and misses. Well, you don't have 23 swing and misses unless you have good stuff. And his stuff was great. His slider was great. He had straight down bite. His fastball was from 94, 97, and it had hop on it. And he even talked about it after the game. He was pretty happy about it. Nobody's happy about giving up 5 runs, but he had a few ground balls that kind of went against him. and it snowballed into a big inning. But I think overall, I'm pretty excited as to what he projects to be able to contribute to this team with his arm. And that's not talking about with his brain and his work habits and his demeanor, the way he carries himself on and off the field and on a plane and on a bus and in a hotel lobby. He's teaching a lot of guys how to be a big leaguer.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they've got so many young arms. You can just see this collection moving forward through the years. Yeah, I mean, what did you think about, Kyle Harrison is in the minors? They've got some other guys down there. Like, I guess you just accumulate and you wait for where attrition is. But could you see them making a trade for somebody with some of these arms?
I don't see it yet. I think depth of a pitching staff is an absolute critical thing you have to have in your organization. You can't say we have a good, deep rotation with 5 guys anymore. You got to go 8 and 9 deep in order to contend. And the same thing for your bullpen arms. It's just the way it is right now. It's the way guys are trained. It's it's just different now. You got to have depth. In regards to Harrison, he wasn't as good as Root. He wasn't as good as Birdsong in spring training. So they went right past him and secured that 5th spot in the lineup, or the rotation rather. And I think it was sort of a challenge thrown out at him. And right now he's hung up on a 4-seam fastball. He needs to expand that. He needs to get to a 2-seam grip. He needs to come up with some other pitches. But I think the thing about Harrison, though, is I think of the 3 guys, I mean, I think he's probably best suited to be able to help this team as a starter and a reliever. And I say that, having watched Birdsong his first 2 relief outings, he's been great. But I think Harrison has that ability. Somewhere down the road this year, he's going to help this team a lot.
You mentioned this on broadcast a lot, and me watching the games as much as I do. I think Giants fans watching the games, you do see Matt Chapman make a play every single game that maybe you don't see another third baseman do. Most other third basemen do. And you mentioned, like, you have to watch him every day to truly realize how valuable he is. It's been said about him throughout his career, but as you watch this guy, how valuable is he? Like, what does he do? What does he do for a pitcher, knowing that anything hit over there is going to be caught and it's going to be thrown accurately to first base on a line? Just what's your evaluation of Chapman as a player?
Well, he anchors, and he anchors the left side of the infield. He anchors his position in the lineup. He anchors his presence in the clubhouse. Everything about the guy is a big leaguer with class. I think that the one thing that you have to have, excuse me, I think the one thing that you have to have if you're a pitcher is a belief that if you throw a strike and it gets put in play, that's going to get caught. Because if you don't have that, excuse me, you get put into the strikeout mode. And when the strikeout mode starts, you start throwing too many pitches, and the pitch counts, in this modern era, is the most important thing that you have to battle outside of the lineup. So having the confidence of a Chapman on the left side, it plays in the confidence as to how you attack the strike zone. It plays in how you attack with strike one. It's just, and then the other thing too, when you have a guy make a play every day that shouldn't get made, it energizes you. It energizes everybody on the field and everybody in the dugout. But the guy on the mound, that's the guy who just got his lunch paid for, and it just keeps you alive in a game. You don't have fatigue because of those type of brilliance, those type of brilliant plays being put on by that third baseman every day, and it carries over to the other guys. We're seeing guys in every other position extend beyond what they normally would do because they think they can. They think they can take a chance because if it gets by them, somebody else will pick them up. And that's what happens when teams become good teams defensively.
Posey obviously was instrumental in getting that extension done. He's signed Adames. Adames has not put up big numbers so far, but another kind of Posey player. What have you thought about Adames so far?
Well, big leaguer, same deal. He comes to the ballpark every day knowing that he's going to help in a lot of ways. Now, it's obviously talking about defense and with the bat, but it's the intangibles. It's how you carry yourself after you make an error. The other players in your team, the young players watch how you carry yourself after you've struck out with runners in scoring position, how you handle failure. And, he does it in a way where he's not flippant about it. He doesn't, you know that it affects him, but yet he rises above it and he continues his focus under the next ball that's hit to him. That's the next at bat that he takes. And that's critical with the leaders in your clubhouse. He's a big leaguer. He handles success modestly. He gives credit. He doesn't want the spotlights on him to take away spotlights from another. And that plays on the field, it plays in the clubhouse, and it plays on the road. I mean, he's just, he's everything we heard about. We heard when he left the Brewer organization, we talked to some of the people over there, and they were disappointed that he was not coming back because of how positive of a player he was in every aspect of the game. I mean, he's been absolutely as advertised, and he hasn't performed as he wants to yet, but he will.
One thing I've talked about with Buster and with Manassian, and even I just knew, having covered Buster, how important it was to him that players post. He keeps, posting guys who play games, who show up. They're not having to get taken out of the lineup for this or that. In the clubhouse, Mike, I mean, it's always important to players, but how important is it to just see other guys who are going to be in the lineup almost every single day?
Well, I mean, I go back to our era at TK, and I mean, it was a pretty much set lineup. You knew who was going to be on that field every day. The bench players, I mean, it was tough to be a bench player early in the season because you weren't getting many reps. Mm-hmm. You had to find out and figure out ways to stay sharp, and it's a difficult job. But the backbone of your team were the guys that went out there and they gave you 550, 650 at bats. When the Gabe Kapler era came, the line change became something we saw every day. So the positive side of it was it kept your extra guys going, and they had an ability to stay sharp because they were playing every day. But the downside was you didn't have a consistency to have a rhythm with your same defense out there, like we're seeing the defense have this year. And we're seeing very good defense. I think a lot of it has to do that most of these guys are out there every day. They know what the other guy can do. And that forms a very, very positive rhythm. I think when you have the line change, the defense is affected by it. The other thing, too, the definition of the utility player in the previous regime, you had 8 guys that really could call themselves utility players. And I don't think that's that healthy. I think that especially for young players, when they're trying to establish themselves up here, and in their mind, it means establish themselves offensively. I think if they have to worry about 4 or 5 different positions to be responsible for, it takes away from their ability to concentrate on their offense. I think you could do that to 2 guys on your team. I just don't think you can do it to 7 guys on that team. And that's what happens when you have a line change. You have guys feeling like they're more utility than an everyday player. So I do think that the philosophy now between Buster and Bob Melvin and all the coaches under Melvin feel that having a more set lineup, take that field every day, has everything to do with how early they've found the rhythm defensively.
I think it works
in the lineup too as well. Excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, good point. I was just going to say, I think it's harder to do that with pitching, but I think it's the same. Logan Webb means so much to be okay. He's starting 32 times this season if he can possibly help it. He's not going to only pitch when he feels good. He's not going to get 10 starts here, take a break, 12 starts there. As an old pitcher, I imagine, and no one the way you want to take that ball every 5th day. I got to believe that kind of has a ripple effect throughout a clubhouse.
Well, it does, and it's an anchor, and it also is, a game that when you have a young staff, if they pitch in a game that the Giants don't win, it's nice to have a guy where every time he takes the mound, it feels like win day, regardless who he's playing against, who's pitching against him. You have to have that guy to anchor down the staff, and then it makes everybody better. The thing about Webb, and I want to analyze his first three starts, if you don't mind. The first
Sure.
outing he had opening day in Cincinnati, he went out there and he didn't have good stuff. I mean, the energy of the energy of distraction, we like to call it, because of adrenaline, affected that start. Also, he had about 50 passes that he was dealing with that he brought in from San Francisco, which can be a distraction. I mean, I don't want to discount that because it's wonderful when you can bring your family, especially that large, a contingency to support you. That's a wonderful thing. That's a memorable thing that you want to be able to do. But it is a distraction. It's something you have to learn how to deal with. But what he did in that game, when he didn't have a changeup and he didn't have great command, and he was pitching behind a lot, is that he kept his team in the game. He went 5 innings. He gave up 3. The Giants would go on and they would win that game. His next outing in Houston, he didn't have the geek going into the first inning of adrenaline that he had on opening day. He was much more relaxed. It played in his command. He still didn't have the changeup. His mechanics were still not quite there. He dealt. He had a great start. He threw up. He was brilliant. And then he came home, and his first start in San Francisco at Oracle Park was absolutely brilliant. He and Hunter Green hooked up, and for 7 innings, it was 0-0, and they were just feeding off each other. On that day, in the first inning, he showed up with his changeup. And what we found out later, he had found it between starts, throwing a bullpen, what the mechanical flaw was. He fixed it, took it into that game, and then he just dominated. So the point being is that he's more than a thrower now. In that first game that he had in Cincinnati, first or second year into his big league career, if he didn't have his stuff, you don't know what you're going to get. But even a day when he didn't have his stuff, he managed to find a way to keep his team in the game. And as a result, they won. Point being, he's a pitcher. He can pitch. So having an anchor that can be efficient, that can get quick outs, that can get through to the 7th inning because the pitch count's not even getting him out of the game, that is extremely invaluable. And that's what Webb represents.
I wrote this morning about, this is a step towards maybe, we know they finished second or third for all these free agent pursuits. And I know you want to focus on this roster and nobody wants to start replacements, but you do want to get in that market because the Dodgers are going to be in there every single year and the Padres want to be in the, you're competing with these top teams, the Mets. Do you feel a different sense like other stars, if they get traded, would want to resign, or if they're free agents, they'd want to look at this team? How different do you think that aspect is for this team now, maybe not finishing second or third in these big chases?
Well, first of all, I don't think until this year, and this goes back last year when they got Chapman that was critical. Mm-hmm. They wanted an anchor defensively. They wanted an anchor offense, blah, blah, blah. They got what they wanted with Chapman. Plus, another very important thing about Chapman, I mean, he really learned the Bay Area when he was with the A's, and he loves the Bay Area. He wanted to come back. So that was a plus. The minor league system, with its ability to support the big leagues and the big league team, was not completely 100% ready to go until this year.
Yeah.
We were waiting for guys to develop. We were waiting for Matos and Elliot Ramos and Tyler Fitzgerald and Patrick Bailey. We were waiting, but they had to get to speed. They had to get to strength level. They had to get to that feeling of confidence that they belong. They are finally ready to go. And I think the significant thing of being able to bring in Adames, because of who he is, how he plays, how admired and respected he is in the Latino community, to be able to bring him into the Giants organization was huge. And I think the timing of it had everything to do with the ability of the minor league system of the Giants to be able to support the big league team. Now, from here on out, the Giants are caught up. They have a minor league system that will continue to support the big leagues for what I think could be even a decade or more. It might be from now on, because we have talent down there. And when it gets to the big leagues, it's not overmatched. Its strength level is realistic. It's a confidence level. Their confidence level is realistic. And now more people, more free agents are going to want to come here. Free agents, when they evaluate teams to go to, there's one priority beyond money, And that's the ability to win. They want to win. They don't want to come over to a place and wait 2 or 3 years before that team, that organization is ready to win. The Giants organization finally this year can say they're ready to win. And as they go forth, it'll really, really make it a lot easier for more players to come and make the choice to come to San Francisco.
All right, Mike, we're getting to the section that I am looking forward to. It is the book recommendation time for Mike Krukow, because your tastes are so good. So I'll end this question with a version of the question I have to read, but I asked you a very specific one. Mike Krukow, what's your favorite book right now?
Okay, well, I can't get off of Robert Crais, Crais, and I think I'm pronouncing it right. I hope so. But he's got a series of books. He started writing them in 1984, and he just released one about 2 months ago. And his main character is Elvis Cole, and Elvis Cole is a private eye. He was a ranger in the service. He bypassed the PD, and he went right into being a private eye. And his partner, the same, was an ex-GI and was a member of the LAPD. His name is Joe Pike, who's one of the badasses of all time. And the two of these guys are, it takes place in LA. It's very similar to the Michael Connelly, Harry Bosch series in a lot of ways, but this guy can write. He can flat out write. And all of these, the first book you read, the series, is probably the worst one you will read. I mean, it rates high, but it just keeps going. And my wife, who's really, really, hard to please, she's like on the 6th book now, and she's just going full bore. I recommend the whole series if you've never tried it. Robert Crais and the Eric Cole series, or the Elvis Cole series.
I've read some of those, I think, a while ago, and I liked them because you mentioned Joe Pike. I definitely remember that name. I for some reason, I stopped reading them, so now I'm going to get back into it. I don't know. I remember liking all those characters, so I got to jump back into it. Robert Crais, yeah, that I like wasn't it like a bomb detection thing or something early on? I'm trying to remember. I think I read it like 20 years ago, maybe when it first started.
Yeah, you probably did.
Yeah, you turned me on to the IQ series. That was tremendous. Is there anything new on that one? I have not read a new one of that one for a while.
No, we haven't seen him come out with it, and I'm waiting because that's one of my favorite. And the other gal that I really like is Tana French. She wrote the Dublin Murders, and she's really, really good. And she actually has another character. All her books are remarkable. And what do you got? Give me one.
Well, you mentioned Connelly, and I think I always bring up Connelly to you. And the books are a little different in the Bosch series, right? Bosch is aging, dealing with that kind of stuff. Renee Ballard is the new detective he's kind of brought into it, and she's very interesting. So I forget the titles, but he keeps coming out with them, and I'm reading the last 3 or 4 are really interesting. Definitely shifting over to the Renee Ballard police detective, kind of a young Bosch rebel type. But it's interesting, and Connelly is a really good writer. So it continues to be, it's a little different. You're not in the LAPD with Bosch. You're not going through that really kind of, point blank stuff. But I like it, and I read them. It's very consistent. The Connelly books are very consistent. But I'm looking for some other series. I haven't really jumped on. I gave you the Heat book, which is just Michael Mann wrote a book, a sequel to his movie, and I thought that was just fantastic. I forget the exact.
Yeah, that was really strong. That went through our family, and we thumbs up all the way across.
That was you and me. That was Krukow Kawakami perfection with that one. Very noir, very moody, very well done. But Connelly's kind of a boring recommendation here, but he's just so good, so consistent. I'll just keep throwing that one back out to you, and I'll try to find something new for you. But Robert Crais, I got to jump back on that one. That was very good. Now, I don't know. Fleming recommended this one to me. He probably recommended you A Gentleman in Moscow. Have you read that one?
Oh, yeah, that was my favorite book last year.
Yep. Yeah, that stuck with me. Yeah,
did you see the miniseries on it?
No, I just realized that I didn't even know there was one. Was it good?
Absolutely 100% spectacular.
Wow.
And Ian who's it? Ian McKellen. Oh gosh, who's it? Oh, the actor who. Oh gosh, I can't think of his name. Is it anyway? Yep. Check it out. It is so to the book, and it is so well acted and so well done. It was our favorite thing on TV last year.
Okay, I gotta go. It's Amazon, I think. We'll have to check that. But I just saw, like, I'm just kind of going through like one of the, the screen, and then it popped up. Went, whoa! They made a movie. They made a series on this. I gotta watch this.
Yeah, Ian McClellan. Is it Ian McEwan? Is it Ian?
McEwan?
No.
I think it's McEwan. It's not McClellan. I think it's McEwan.
Okay.
But
Yeah, he was unbelievable. He was the guy.
Okay. That's all great stuff. Now we wanted over to TV recommendations too. Awesome. As always, great talking to Mike. Always appreciate the Giants talk. And as you know, I love the book talk. The book talk's the best. Thank you so much, Mike. I'll see you soon, I'm sure.
All right, TK. See you at the yard, man. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for talking. See you.